Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of The Week Ahead, the series where I go through the entirety of the Steam new releases list through so much rubbish so that you don't have to and I can find what games are coming out this week. We've got a jam-packed week this week, 33 new games, 7 new DLC, obviously the 2 new consoles and all the games that they come with, and maybe, possibly one game that could knock the Among Us off its perch. All this and more in The Week Ahead. Okay, let's start off with a game everyone loves. Why does everyone love it? Well, because it's free, of course. This is actually the second free game to be released by Handshake Firm, with the other being Delta Blade 2700 a year ago. I don't think anyone could argue it looks good. It's a 2D platformer with quick, fluid combat, where you play as a mysterious assassin-like wielder of spirit energy. Coming out in early access is Still Light, a horror game that was recently being released on Game Jolt as the developers worked on it. It is listed as free at the moment. As the game develops, they do plan to start charging for it though. It features online co-op and the tag "You are safe in the still light." But besides that, not much else I could really find about it really. For VR fans out there, we have Fate's Call: A New Beginning, a VR fantasy RPG. Although the developers don't mention the word open world, they do say you can explore the world of Fate's Call, and the trailer does make it seem like it's quite an expansive place. Defeat monsters and bosses with your swords, bows or magic spells. Obviously not going to be a Skyrim or Half-Life Alyx in size, but it could be a decent enough game. Also, it might just be me, but it sounds like the trailer, they just used clips of Morgan Freeman talking over their game. And that man has a voice that will make me dance naked down the high street if he asked me to. The game will be available on the Valve Index, the HTC Vive, Oculus Rift and Windows Mixed Reality. And then, keeping the VR gravy train rolling, we have Escape Together, a VR game with online co-op that consists of trying to get out of an escape room. There are 3 different rooms to try out, either by yourself or with friends. If you always wanted to try out an escape room but don't really want to go outdoors considering current events, maybe give this a shot. It will be available on the Valve Index, HTC Vive and Oculus Rift. If the latest Cyberpunk 2077 delay has got you craving Cyberpunk, why not try this? A remake of the 2017 release. The original game was about a 7 to 8 hour experience which essentially revolved around you being a detective and hacking into people's minds. A psychologic horror game that will leave you questioning whether you're in the real world or jacking into someone else's mind still. This remake has expanded gameplay with new mechanics, new secrets to find, redesigned stealth, additional neural interrogations, quality of life improvements and 3 new side cases. Also with the next gen here, obviously it needs to look prettier. I'm talking 4K resolution, upgraded textures, new animations, models and effects, ray tracing and HDR lighting. The original has an 82% positive rating on Steam, and this game can only go up. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Obviously, the Yakuza games need no introduction, with their over-the-top stories, endless mini-games and subplots, but this one is slightly different. Doing away with the traditional combat of the games, Like a Dragon leans heavily into the RPG side of the game with turn-based mechanics. Featuring a new playable character in Ichiban Kasuga, the series is moving into new territory after following Kazuma Kiryu as the main series protagonist for the previous 7 games. Valhalla follows a Viking clan from Norway that tries to settle in England. You'll deal with the ancient kingdoms of Northumbria, East Anglia, Mercia and Wessex, led by King Alfred the Great himself, and the warring sons of the Viking warrior Ragnar Lothbrok. They've tweaked the combat a little bit from previous entries here, and are promising far more enemy archetypes to keep throwing new things at you as you progress through the game. There is naval transport, but apparently naval combat has been dialed back, and settlements for you to build are back as well. There'll also be a modern day story following Layla Hassan, the modern day protagonist you've seen in Origins and Odyssey. A dogfighting game where instead of flying planes or spaceships, you're riding on the back of giant birds. Bird fighting? Falcon fighting? What's the name of that thing when they have the 2 chickens and they throw them in the arena and they fight each other? Give me 1 second. Cockfighting! That's it! So glad I took the time on this video to go and look that up. Anyway, for the video. Made by a single developer, it's an open world where you'll be joining and helping various factions throughout. There are multiple different classes with different stats and can all be upgraded through various means. Apparently you'll be able to choose a unique origin story, and there are multiple playable campaigns to experience, alongside various side missions and exploration in this large open world. Now, why don't you explore a temple using your own feet, moving about in room scale VR with your trusty whip like you're Indiana Jones? This looks like an innovative VR game which is great because every great VR game is one that does something different, as opposed to the hundreds of standard one spot and shoot people VR games we've had. You'll be moving about a temple solving puzzles, although it does look like this game may be a struggle if you're susceptible to motion sickness in VR. Fortunately, there is a demo and a free prologue called Eye of the Temple First Steps for you to try it out. If you finish the game, then there is speedrun mode, which to me looks like a recipe for motion sickness and probably running face first into a wall. But for the extra daring, it's there where every time step speeds up moving blocks little by little. The game will be available on the Valve Index, HTC Vive, Oculus Rift and Windows Mixed Reality. Now Steam is suggesting this to me on my upcoming releases feed, but the actual release date just says 2020 at the moment. That being said, the demo and the prologue are both playable now, so I figured I'd include it in the list. Now, this is a remake of the 2003 release under the same name. A totally unique, gorgeous art style with that whole cel shading comic book vibe and comic book text popping up. You play as 13, a man without identity who sets off in search of his past, discovering you played a role in the murder of the President of the United States in a solo campaign stretching across 34 levels. The game has 15 weapons, a mix of action, infiltration and exploration gameplay, and multiplayer PvP modes. Here you play as Sackoner, a spoiled harvest goddess banished to a dangerous island. This is a side-scroller action game with farming sim elements. The combat looks enjoyable, and the farming sim aspects affect your strength, as well as her combat abilities, with what looks like a deep leveling, crafting system, and interesting combat. Apparently a deep story, according to the developer. This could be a solid game. Let's just group these two together, both are for established games, just offering a bit more of the same. First we've got Star Kings for Age of Wonders Planetfall. This features a new faction, new campaign, new wildlife to fight, and its landmark feature are Grails. Powerful new landmark structures that can be added for additional long-term bonuses. They can be unlocked by completing multi-stage quests and are integral in creating the biggest and best empires possible. Then we've got Destiny 2 Beyond Light. If you like Destiny 2, you'll like this. You've got a new location in Jupiter's frozen moon of Europa, as well as a new threat and a new elemental power called Stasis. As usual with Destiny 2 expansions, there is also a new raid to participate in, and new exotic rewards to collect. 3D platformers are a dime a dozen these days, but Miras Tale does look like something special, at least at first glance. Looking beautiful with a variety of traversal mechanics such as a grappling hook, a glider and climbing, which will look familiar to you if you played Breath of the Wild with its stamina bar draining mechanic. You'll explore 4 locations all looking distinct with their own problems. This is also a bit of a unique studio in that from what I can tell, it's staffed purely by current students at Huddersfield University, who get together and make a game and release it every year. Again, not certain on the date beyond 2020, but there is a free demo right now for you to wet your teeth on in the meantime, and since there isn't much left of 2020, it'll be here soon. Did I mention how much I like it looks? Okay, releasing into early access is Heroes Must Die. And you know this game is serious because die is spelled with 2 E's on the end. Essentially, you become fed up every other week with a new band of blithering idiots called heroes. They break into your house and steal your stuff. No more, you say. You build your own dungeon designed specifically to kill those pesky heroes. But as the heroes get together, you'll have your work cut out for you as you must upgrade and improve your traps, hire minions, monsters, and even dragons. Level up your own skills and equip your minions with all the awesome loot that these dead heroes probably just stole from another person anyway. Again, release is vague in fall 2020, but the demo's up and live now, so give it a try. Ever, sat on the toilet just minding your own business when you thought that, hey, this would be a really fun idea for a video game? No? Well, neither is anyone else. Or so I thought until I saw this. With high quality bathroom physics and more simulators to come, including a fruit simulator, thermometer simulator, and a blind simulator, what more could you possibly want this holiday season? Releasing on the 12th of November. Did I seriously just say that all out loud? Oh god. At least I can't get much worse from here, Can we get some more video games, please? Well, not quite a whole video game, but at least we've got some DLC. Now, here's a DLC for Death Crown. Death Crown Demonic Menace. The base game is a 1-bit, yes, 1-bit, RTS, with currently an 88% positive rating on Steam. If you like the game, then all I can say is this DLC is more. A new faction, map, terrain and landscape features, and a new campaign called Demonic Menace featuring 21 new missions, 4 new bosses with new mechanics and 5 new cutscenes. The original was currently $9.99 on Steam or your regional equivalent, and the last DLC was free, so why not give it a shot? but don't as of yet know how much this new DLC would cost, if it costs anything at all. Next up, we have a game that reminds me a lot of Overcooked in look as well as theme. You and up to 3 friends have to try and prove yourselves in a chaotic environment as a flight attendant. With each character having a unique ability in-game, you will be solving all kinds of crazy stuff mid-flight, as you try to keep everyone happy until you land, and try not to break any friendships any more than necessary. There is a free demo available now to play. Anyone who has played a game developed by Choice of Games knows what you're getting into. It's a completely text-based adventure where you choose from various options to deal with situations your character gets into. Although their games tend to be a bit hit and miss both in terms of length and quality, they've had more hits than misses. This one's a sequel to Tally Ho, a game with an amazing 98% positive rating on Steam that gives it a good start to build on, and is billed as an interactive comedy of manners where you play as a close relation of an earl who has just joined the once kind of elite noble gases and gets stuck in a scandal and end up having to lead your new social club through a world of pranks, debts, close shaves, passions, rivalries and untold heights of splendour and absurdity amongst the creme de la creme of society. Football Tactics and Glory is billed as XCOM meets Football Manager. You manage the team off the pitch, but then on the pitch it turns into a turn-based football game. This new DLC adds more depth to the game, adding transfers, infrastructure, new personnel, balancing and immersion tweaks, and a new giftedness mechanic, which dictates simply how amazing a player is, which works with his other skills to work out how successful your player is at performing certain actions. Although, this is meant to be like XCOM, expect your star striker to miss a 99% success rate, tap in on an open goal 99% of the time. Wait, maybe this is like watching an actual football match. Space Gladiators The Whole is a free game available on Steam that acts as a prelude to the main game Space Gladiators Escaping Tartarus, which is currently in early access. Featuring the first area and boss and 2 characters, Space Gladiator is a 2D hand-drawn roguelike platformer with tight controls giving it a high skill ceiling, which is supposed to feel great to play if you read the reviews. And the main game has a 98% approval rating on Steam as well. For the low price of free, there really is no reason not to try it. Okay, rapid fire round here. Let's see how quick we can do this. We have new DLC for American Truck Simulator Colorado, pretty self-explanatory. You can drive across Colorado, same format, other DLC have used. And then we've got the Alpine Farming expansion for Farming Simulator 19. Alpine Farming gives you access to over 30 authentic vehicles and farming machinery and new activities based on mountain farming in the hills and valleys. Yes, smashed it. Now, back to games again. Here we have Mr. Prepper, a crafting survival game in that 2D ant farm aesthetic, kind of like the base building in XCOM Enemy Unknown or Fallout Shelter. Here you play as a man who knows something's up and that he needs to prepare, building an underground shelter, crafting machines, trading with your neighbours, while also avoiding the attention of the secret police, who will stop at nothing to make sure that everyone that they don't choose to save and keep under their control will die. There isn't a hard release date on the Steam page, it just says prepping for release. See, it's funny because it says prepping and the name of the game is... Anyway, moving on. But there is a free prologue available setting up the story and a free demo, so why not give it a shot? Moving along the DLC train, we get the Snow Escape expansion pack for The Sims 4 for the low price of $34.99. Wait, what? Yes, $34.99 for DLC. You get some new mountainside themed activities like snowboarding, sledding with friends, rock climbing, and the challenge of climbing to the top of Mount Komoribi. Not into physically exerting yourself? That's fine. Just take a dip in the hot springs, enjoy a hot pot, or socialise on a hike with others in bamboo forests or snowy terrain, and then try and find your inner zen. Then, for the meat and potatoes of the expansion, we've got new Japanese themed interiors for your home building, and a new mechanic in the form of lifestyles and sentiments. Lifestyles are created based on your actions, and can change your behaviour, whereas sentiments affect your relationships with other Sims based on going through the same experiences. Okay, I actually had to look this up before making this video to see if this was an actual sport or one made up for the game. But no, Handball is an actual sport. You can go and play and watch it, well, maybe not now, but in normal times you can. Maybe this is obvious to you, like water is wet, fire is hot, and the Star Wars prequels are infinitely better than the originals, but I digress. Although this does seem a little feature-light compared to other sports game franchises, I'd say it's simply just a less represented sport than in other sports games, and thus, less people are likely to buy it, you don't get an annual title every year, and there's just less to be spent developing it. It still has 7 different leagues to play in and an online mode. If you just want to be able to play handball in a video game, here you are. A big release for those of you wanting to build some sweat indoors this month is Just Dance 2021. It will have 40 new tracks to dance to, although if you were planning to play this on your Wii, unfortunately this will be the first game in the Just Dance series to drop the Wii as a platform. They probably just spent too much time focusing on platforms that really matter, like the Google Stadia support. Okay, I hear you. You probably want to see the game I teased in the thumbnail. Well, here it is. Of course, where there is success, there are imitators. Killer Among Us 3D is exactly what you think when you hear the name. It's a clone of Among Us, but in 3D. Now, I don't mind seeing a popular title and then ripping from it to make your own. That's how the entire Battle Royale genre pretty much started. After PUBG blew up and Fortnite turned and went, wait, I like money too. I'm gonna try some of that. But you need to try and do something to push the genre forward, and I don't think just translating the game to 3D is enough when all the actual gameplay is still the same. I mean, they even put Among Us in the name, guys, which that's pretty on the nose. But if you have played Among Us, or not, and you just want more of the same but in 3D, or the original art style just wasn't for you, here you go. No hard release date, just the month of November 2020. Based on 5 of the biggest TV shows of the last decade, which if you haven't watched, then you've at least probably heard of, we have Lanflix Odyssey. Due to some nuclear batteries in his TV remote, Larry gets sucked into his Lanflix TV platform, where he must battle the evil CEO to retrieve the nuclear batteries and get home. He will travel across 5 worlds with 5 special abilities to mix up the gameplay, along with 10 boss fights and secret content to find and unlock for you completionists out there. Okay, comrade. The Strategic Mind series is a series of turn-based strategy games where you lead your armed forces comprised of land, sea and air forces, although primarily focused on the land aspect. Each game in the series has focused on one aspect of the Second World War, and now it's time to focus on the Eastern Front. Following all of the campaigns of the Red Army from Mongolia and Finland to Germany and Japan, and then playing on a historical campaign path to conquer the world in order to protect yourself from that capitalist threat. You will upgrade and customise your troops, giving them new equipment to prepare themselves for the different campaigns they will face, and there are over 60 minutes of fully voiced, if slightly janky looking cinematics that await you. The free demo is available right now. Rune II. I don't even know where to begin with this one. Lots of games and studios unfortunately fail, but not many do so like the original release of this game. Rune II originally released on the 12th of November 2019, and then on the 13th of November, Human Head Games closed its doors, and then immediately reopened them the same day as Bethesda Softworks owned Roundhouse Studios. They had in fact only told their publishing partner, Ragnarok Games, they would be effectively abandoning the game and shutting down on the 7th of November, 5 days before release, and effectively just left Rune II dead on arrival, even if it was a promising game. Rune II Decapitation even, edition is the re-release on Steam of this game, like a phoenix from the ashes after a team was hurriedly put together to fix the game and improve it, which according to a PC Gamer article, was made even more difficult in that Human Head Games refused to hand over the source code. Featuring a new combat system, skill system, a revamped quest system, a PvP and co-op game modes, this game has gone through development hell in every sense of the word, and I can't wait to see if this is going to be a good news story about a phoenix rising from the ashes, or a disappointment no one even notices, let alone has the chance to forget it. We are the resistance. We are the AntiPants, is the tagline for this game. After the king of the land has decided to enforce that all subjects in this once bastion of nudity must wear pants, you have decided to stand up and be counted as you fight for your right to not wear pants. With split-screen co-op being available, you and some friends can take part in this 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up, where you can level up your chosen character, with each character having different abilities, stats, combos and weapon preferences. You'll have 4 starting characters to choose from, with more being unlocked as you play. You'll unlock new combos and better weapons as you progress, and even ride your mighty mount into battle. The free demo is available now if you want to play. Here, we have a 2D isometric strategy game, where you will help factions assert dominance by performing missions and strategic upgrades. Each mission will consist of a couple of puzzles, and each settlement you convert will give you an upgrade slot. Bandits can be a threat if you don't deal with them, and your goal is simply to convert the majority of settlements over to your faction in the best possible time. I'm sure you know what Call of Duty is, so I'm not going to labour the point here. Cold War will have the usual campaign, multiplayer modes and zombies, with the caveat that a second zombies mode, called Zombies Onslaught, is a PlayStation exclusive, where up to 2 players defend areas grounded off by the Dark Ether Orb, which is powered by zombie kills. After so many kills, the orb will move to a new position, forcing you to move with it or die. Sounds like a fun alternate way to play. We'll see if it has any legs, but it's just a shame it's locked behind an exclusivity agreement. Okay, now we're heading into the PS5 exclusive territory. These games, I'm not going to labour the point too much here, I'm just going to quickly list them off. If you want to know more, there's 100 other places on the internet you can go to see them. First up, we've got Demon's Souls. You know, well, it's Demon's Souls, a remake of the game that kickstarted Dark Souls, and an entire genre of games designed to make you throw your controller at the nearest available wall out of frustration. Then moving on, we've got Spider-Man Miles Morales. This is set 1 year after the events of the original Spider-Man game. It is a smaller game though than the first, and is a bit more like a standalone expansion than a whole new release. Playing into the current bevy of looter shooters out there, Godfall is a self-titled looter slasher, hoping to combine tight combat, the likes of God of War, with the progression systems and loot mechanics of Borderlands and The Division, and also their social aspect as well. Next, Sackboy, the self-titled protagonist of this adventure. He's moving away from that 2.5D and player-made maps of the Little Big Planet series with a 3D platforming game for up to 4 players. And then finally we got Bugsnax. This is the first-person adventure game where you have to travel to an island as a journalist to investigate these unique creatures called Bugsnax. This game will be free for PS Plus subscribers, so you have no reason not to download it and give it a try at least. Now, here is something I am looking forward to play, if you couldn't tell by the fact I gave it a page all by itself. It's an open world game with no map, so if you want to find where you're going, you have sort of this spirit vision where you can see landmarks in the distance. Obviously this means that the best way to use it is to climb up to somewhere very tall and just look out on the world and admire its beauty. You're a hunter with a pet eagle that helps you travel around the world. Alongside its interesting art style, there are large dramatic battles with spirits that you're trying to calm. You're only allowed to actually take part in these battles though, and defeat the spirits after performing objectives in the world. Before then, your best bet is just to hide and hope they don't find you. I personally can't wait to try this one out. And that's it. Those are all the games for the week ahead. Quite a few in there, new games, new DLC, new consoles, new everything. These are the 4 games I'm going to be showing off this week: Archipelago, Shakes on a Plane, 13 and Sackoner of Rice and Ruin. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button down below, hit the like button. These videos come out every week explaining what's coming out. Looking forward to seeing you guys again. And in the meantime, I can hear the drum beat coming in, and that means it's time for the outro. Let's go!